Welcome to the fifth lecture on alpha decay. Last lecture we had derived Gamow theory to explain alpha tunneling, and we had seen we had derived the expression, and what we are going to do today is we are going to see how good that expression is. We are going to be testing the half-life of uranium using Gamow's theory and comparing it with the experimental value. If the agreement is good, then the theory is accepted. So that's going to be our exercise today. We are going to be doing one actual calculation and trying to check the Gamow's theory. Let me start with the expression. We had seen this expression, derived this expression in the previous lecture. This is what the expression is for the probability of alpha tunneling. This is for the rectangular top. So please understand, this is for rectangular top potential, where B is the potential width. Now, if you want to understand this, let me try drawing it here. This is your width, this is your B, this is your width. Okay, this is your width B, mass M is the mass of the tunneling particle, the particle which is trying to tunnel through. This is the mass. U is the height of the barrier, this is the height of the barrier, this is 0, and this is the height U. E is the energy is less than obviously the height. We are trying to see if it can tunnel through, and these are all the expressions here. So you can see that if the difference is going to be large, then the tunneling probability is going to be difficult. The mass is going to be more, the tunneling probability is going to be difficult. If the width of the barrier is going to be more, the tunneling probability is going to be difficult. So I had asked this question in the quiz too. So the tunneling probability is dependent on three factors: the width of the potential, the mass of the tunneling particle, and the difference between the potential barrier and the energy of the tunneling particle. Okay. Now, but our actual potential, as you know, is not a rectangular top, but it is something of this form. So this is not a proper rectangular top. Is like this. This would have been a rectangular top, but this is a variable rectangular top. So this is our actual potential which the alpha particle is going to be experiencing. So it's not going to be a pure rectangular top, but a variable rectangular top. So the Gamow expression is modified here. You must be wondering, what is Gamow expression? Gamow expression is nothing but e raised to minus g here. So g you can see is 2b in the bracket 2m u minus e under root divided by h cross. So this Gamow factor for a rectangular top is this, and for a variable rectangular top it is modified to this. You can see an integration coming to the picture here, and the integration limit is from r to b. Now what is r and what is b? So if you have a rectangular top like this, so this becomes your r, and b means the particle is trying to tunnel through. So just try to see that this particle tunnels through here, the point at where it cuts this part, or variable rectangular top. So you project it on the x-axis, so this becomes your b. Okay, so this becomes your b here. So the integration limit is between r to b, and the rest of the expression remains the same. The only difference is there is an integration coming to the picture. And yeah, we had seen this in the previous lecture. I'm just trying to revise them. We had simplified the expression also when the energy is less than the potential barrier and the width is very large compared to the radius of the nucleus, or the daughter nucleus here, through which it's trying to tunnel through. Then there is going to be a change, and the Gamow factor is approximated by this expression. Please refer the previous lectures PPT or video for this derivation. Some of the students who have not seen them, it is very essential that you refer the previous lecture, otherwise you are not going to be following this particular lecture. So for alpha particle small z If you put 2, then everything reduces to this form. Simple mathematics, you can check that. So this is going to be a gamma factor. Okay, this is a general expression for any tunneling particle. This is an expression specifically for alpha particle for which Z is 2. Now what we're going to be doing is tunneling probability is this, right? And from that we get the decay constant. This is the decay constant. Decay constant is defined as the probability that the particle penetrates the potential barrier, that is this, multiplied by, it has to be multiplied by the number of collisions per second which the alpha particle makes with the potential wall, and that is given by V by R. So V by R is the number of attempts it makes in 1 second, where V is the velocity of the tunneling particle, R is the radius of the daughter, and this particular the multiplication factor here comes in. It is multiplied by this expression, which is nothing but the probability of tunneling. So this 2 determines the decay constant. So I said earlier that even if one of the factor is less, if the particle does not put an attempt, the decay constant you can see is going to be affected. The probability of tunneling is going to be less, the decay constant is going to be very, very less. So the half-life is going to be very, very large. So it's not going to decay. So you need a large value of V by R. Okay, here you can see this, velocity is this and this is there. So you need both of them, and the half-life, as we know, is equal to 0.693 divided by lambda. Okay, so this is the factor here. So if lambda is going to be more, the half-life is going to be less. So for lambda to be more, you need V by R to be more, and you need this particular factor to be more. Okay, right. So now let us calculate the decay constant for uranium-238. Okay, by the way, this also answers the question of alpha paradox. Remember alpha paradox, when we had said, we had mentioned that why is it that the alpha particle is able to tunnel through, but the same thing does not happen. Remember this potential which I had shown. So the alpha particle is able to tunnel through, but an alpha particle from the other end gets deflected. It is not able to penetrate the potential barrier. That was the alpha decay paradox. The reason is everything is the same. This factor is same. The tunneling probability is same. But here V by R is different. So here the alpha particle puts in lot of effort. We will do the calculation and see. You'll be amazed at the amount of effort the alpha particle puts in to tunnel through. While here the alpha particle coming from this side does not put any effort. It gets reflected, and when it gets deflected, it is not again appearing at the potential to tunnel in. So that's the reason why the alpha particle from the other end is not able to come in, but the alpha particle from the opposite end is able to tunnel through. So that was also the reason why I told you that I will give you an explanation later. So now this expression is there in front of us. You will be able to understand that the tunneling probability depends on 2 factors: the number of attempts, this term, and it depends on the tunneling probability. So this is the whole thing. Both of them has to be high. The tunneling probability has to be high, but if the number of attempt is less, the product again becomes less. Okay, let's now do a calculation. This is a very interesting calculation. Dear students, this is not there in the book. I have just taken it from some other source. So this will give you a clear picture of what is happening and how to calculate the probability of tunneling. This is uranium-238. Alpha particle is tunneling out with 4.2 MeV, half mv square. Now first we are actually trying to calculate this particular expression. We are trying to calculate this expression, the gamma factor. So there are 2 terms here, the first term and the second term. So in this first term, first we need to calculate, what are the things which we need to calculate? We need to calculate V. Okay, and then once we know V, we will calculate the first term, and then we'll calculate the second term, because radius is known, mass is known, capital Z is known, and all those things is known. So we'll just put that in the formula and we'll get the gamma factor. Okay, now let's try to do this calculation. Now I'll make V as the subject of formula. So if I make V as the subject of formula, this becomes V is equal to under root of 2 into Q divided by M. So that's what I am trying to do here. 2 multiplied by Q. Q of this equation is already given, 2.4.2 MeV energy. So Q can be taken as the alpha particle energy, as you have seen earlier. 4.2, I have multiplied it by 1.6 into 10 raised to minus 6 to convert it to CGS unit, divided by M. What is M? 4 AMU. I am taking approximately 4 AMU. Normally you can take the mass as the atomic number for approximation. So atomic number is of alpha particle is 4. So 4, and I am converting into grams, I have to multiply it by 1.65 into 10 raised to minus 24. So finally I get velocity as 10 raised to 9 centimeter per second. I calculate the radius using the formula R is equal to R0 A raised to 1 by 3. This formula is known to you. So I put that formula. So you let me just observe here that A is taken as 234 and A is not taken as 238, because we are talking about alpha tunneling from the daughter nucleus. So the potential seen by the daughter. So you'll have to take A of daughter, not of the parent here. So it is 234 to multiply. So you get R. So I get R, I get V, all those things I calculated. Now let me put this into this gamma factor. The gamma factor has got two parts, the first term and the second term. The first term is minus 4 pi Z square upon H cross V. So I put all these values here. I put Z as 90. You can see this. I am not putting Z as 92, but I am putting the daughter charge, that is 90. 4.8 into 10 raised to minus 10. This is the ESU square. H cross value is 1.05 into 10 raised to minus 27. Velocity we have calculated earlier. So this is what I get, minus 173. Second term, I also do the calculation. I put all the values here. I put the mass here, 4 into 1.65 to 10 raised to minus 24 in terms of gram. Radius also I put. You have calculated the radius here in centimeter. Okay, so I put everything. So I get here 83. So if I take the summation of the first term and the second term, I get minus 90. E raised to minus 90 is nearly equal to 10 raised to base 10, it is 10 raised to minus 39. Now let's calculate the decay constant. This is probability of tunneling, and as all of you know, probability, the decay constant is nothing but lambda is nothing but okay, it is nothing but the value of V by R, the number of attempt it puts, multiplied by E raised to minus G. This is going to be a decay constant. So when I put all these values here, I get the decay constant as 1.7 raised to minus 18 seconds. From this I calculate the half-life, and half-life turns out to be 1.3 into 10 raised to 10 years. Just compare this with the actual value. The actual value of half-life for uranium is 10 raised to 9 years. So dear students, you can see that the order is nearly there. 4.4 into 10 raised to 9 years, and the calculation shows 1.3 to 10 raised to 10 years. This has been the greatest triumph of quantum mechanics. Here, what you're seeing is nothing but application of quantum mechanics in calculating the half-life and comparing it with the experimental result. And I will show you the chart in front of you for different elements, so you know how good the theory is. It's not a fluke. It is not just applicable for one uranium decay, it's applicable for other radioactive nuclei too. You can see that this is not lambda, sorry, this has to be your A. There's a mistake here. You can see that Q is 4 by this thing. Okay, forget about this. You can see this is the measured and this is the calculated. This is what is observed experimentally, and this is by Gamow theory. 10 raised to minus 3, 10 raised to minus 5, 10 raised to, there's a mistake here, just ignore this. Okay, 10 raised to 7 here, you can see this 10 raised to 6 order, 10 raised to 12, 10 raised to 11, 10 raised to 17, 10 raised to 16. Of course, there is an error. There is a percentage of error between the measured value and the calculated value. Plus, but understand that we have done a lot of approximations, and by crude approximation, we are still able to come very closer to the figure. In a order of 10 raised to 17, to actually come closer to it, to order of 10 raised to 16 or something like that, is quite remarkable. And if you actually don't do the approximation which we have done in the previous lecture, this figure will be much closer. So this, dear student, has unraveled the mystery of why should the alpha particle tunnel through the potential barrier despite having energy less than the potential height. So classical mechanics is totally ruled out for the simple reason that, I can just give you one example. In classical mechanics, what's going to happen is h cross is not going to be there. So simple, it's h cross is not going to be there, so it's going to be e raised to minus infinity. So classical mechanics tells that the probability of tunneling is infinite, but quantum mechanics says there is a finite probability, but it is dependent on two factors: the attempt and the Gamow factor e raised to minus g. So in life too, the lesson learned is, as I said earlier, you might be extremely talented. That is, your e raised to minus g might be terrific. You are gifted, you are a genius. But if your v by r component is less, that is, you don't put in hard work, this is the hard work component, this is your intelligence component, it is the product of this two which is going to determine the decay constant. And in terms of real life, success could be career, happiness, whatever. I don't want to quantify success in specific terms. It depends on success which you are seeking. So whatever success you are seeking in whichever field, in whichever area you are looking for, you have to have that basic talent in that particular field, and you need to work hard. That is why the polonium alpha particle doesn't succeed, while the alpha particle which is trapped in the potential well is able to come out. So we have seen this. Now we will come to the Geiger-Newton law, which we have seen earlier. Remember the Geiger-Newton law. Yeah, I'll give you some statistics here. The Geiger-Newton law, remember you said that a small variation in energy caused, this is 10 raised to 10, sorry, subscript is not there, causes a large variation in the half-life. If it is 4.2, the half-life we just calculated somewhere around 10 raised to 10 years. But if the energy of the emitted alpha particle is 9, then the half-life is as low as 10 raised to minus 6. How do you explain this? This is extremely sensitive to small variation. And in the theory also, if you put this value, I want some of the students, if you can do this calculation, and for different, the charts are available of alpha emitters, you take the two extreme. One extreme we have already taken, we have taken this. You try out this extreme of 9 MeV. or the polonium nucleus, you can just see, and then see the half-life. You will find that is extremely sensitive to variations in ZME. A 5% variation causes the e raised to minus e2 change to a factor of 100. A 10% change, just a 5% variation in e here is going to cause a change in a factor of 10 raised to 2. So causes the, so they were nearly, so like that if there's a 10% variation, then it will change by around 6,000 or so on. So the Geiger-Newton law is this. I express it in this form, and you compare it with the Gamow theory, and both of them are matching, and I have just shown you how good the two are. So the explanation of Geiger-Newton law was given by Gamow, of course he and 3 others of his colleagues from different part of the country, different nationality. They won the Nobel Prize. Here is this great man, Soviet-born American, and he was one of the pioneers of this particular theory, and he solved the alpha decay paradox and could explain alpha tunneling. This is where I end. Now I'm discussing some of the quiz which I had posted earlier. Let me take quiz 1. Okay, quiz 1. Alpha particle interaction comes under which of the following category? Heavy charge particle, neutral. Of course, you know that alpha particle comes under this category. Geiger-Newton rule connects energy of the particle to the range, energy to the lifetime, energy to the momentum. Geiger rule, please understand the difference between Geiger rule and Geiger-Newton law. It connects energy with range. Range of the particle means maximum distance traveled by distance. There is a mistake here. Some of the students had pointed out. Yes, you're right. The option has to be A. Maximum distance. Which of the following statement is false? Alpha particle travels almost in a straight line. This does not travel in a straight line. As we have seen, the alpha particle, if this is the medium, and if the alpha particle is coming like this, when it leaves the medium, it makes a slight angle here. You can see that there is a slight deviation, and it's a massive particle, so the deviation is not large, it's less. So it does not travel in straight line. Almost alpha particle loses energy in one encounter with electron. Alpha particle loses. So here the option would be, this is the correct option out of the 3. I'm sorry, there is an error here too. So the correct option would be this one. This is the word. It almost travels in a straight line. It does not travel in a straight line, but almost. It gets deflected by a small amount. This is the correct option. So this also, which I have written, is wrong. Please correct it. Geiger-Newton law connects energy to range, energy to lifetime. This is the beauty of the Geiger-Newton law. This is Geiger-Newton. Let me go to quiz 2. Alpha particle spectrum means different frequency, no. Different energy associated with emitting from a single atom, no. Different energy associated with an emitting alpha particles from a different atom. Now this is why it is called a spectrum. One atom is going to emit only one alpha particle. So that's not going to give you spectrum. The spectrum is going to be caused because of a group of atoms here. So this is the correct option. Nuclear spectroscopy deals with study of nuclear energy levels. Yes, it deals with nuclear energy levels. Just like atomic spectroscopy deals with atomic energy levels. So this is it. Now, which of the option is correct here? Let's see. Okay, A plus 4. We have derived this formula. None of those answers is B. This is your correct expression. Which of the following statements is false? Long range alpha particle is emitted from a ground state. This is not correct. Long range alpha particle is emitted from the excited state. Yes, the excited state energy of the parent is available. That's why it is able to travel with larger energy. Long range alpha particle is emitted from the excited state of the donor. No, it is excited state of the parent. So this is it. Which of the statement is false? long range alpha particles are not part of alpha spectrum. This is a false statement. I'm sorry. This is the false statement, so this is correct here in this particular option. Energy difference between long range alpha particle and rest of the spectrum is more. Okay, the energy difference between long range alpha particle and rest of the spectrum is more. Long range alpha particles cannot be used for finding parent nuclear states. Long range alpha particles cannot be used for finding parent nuclear states. So the correct option here, which of the statement is false? This is also correct. Answer: long range alpha particles are not part of the alpha spectrum. So this is the false statement, while this is a correct statement, this is a correct statement, and this is a false statement. So answer is going to be A. Thank you, dear students, and I will take up the quiz of the remaining lectures in my next presentation. Thank you. Do give me your feedback, and you can mail me. I think mail would be much easier. The forum is also activated. If you don't want to put your questions in your forum, you can specifically write a mail to me as to what are the points you want to discuss or you are not understood, and if possible I will try to arrange for a Google Meet too. Thank you.